Hello and welcome to Miss Hannah Loves Grammar. In this video we'll be considering some quickfire quotes for the monster as found within Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. So this character is created and loathed by Victor and attacked by random people when he's released at large for his looks. He takes shelter beside the De Lacy family and watches them lead their lives. Through watching the De Lacy family he learns about language, teaches himself how to read, and unpacks a little more what society is all about. He wants to fit in with society. He wants to befriend the De Lacys, like they do the exotic Arabian girl, Safi. Unfortunately, they reject him, and he feels rejected by society as a whole when they do this. By now, this is the second major rejection he's experienced. He kills Victor's youngest brother, William, and frames Justine, the servant, for it. He demands that Victor make him a companion. In fact, this is the only plea the monster makes. He believes this is his one chance at happiness. Unfortunately, whilst Victor promises he will create a companion, when the monster checks on Victor's creation, the monster watches Victor rip apart the half-made companion. This wrecks his heart. He seeks revenge, and in turn kills Victor's best friend Henry Clerval and his wife Elizabeth on their wedding night. The monster is then pursued by his creator to the North Pole. For his master, his creator, seeks to kill him too for all that the monster has done to ruin Victor's life. But when Victor dies, we still learn the monster grieves for the loss of his master and creator. And he says that there's no place for him in the world. He must die too at the news that his master and creator has died. There's something incredibly complex about a character that we could simplify straight down to an alien, a creature that should be rejected. His significance across the broader tapestry of this novel is that, on the face of it, our monster is both a protagonist and an antagonist. Is simultaneously someone that we should be in fear of and sympathetic to, based on the experiences we witness of how this character reacts and is treated by others. So let's unpack that with a few key quotations to remember. Accursed creator, why did you form a monster so hideous that even you turned from me in disgust? I want you to answer the 4 questions that are listed here and hit pause if you need thinking time. So the monster says this in chapter 15. He's talking directly to Victor and he calls him and accuses him of being an accursed creator. As you can tell from the punctuation, this is a very heated moment between them. The language of fierce aggression, be that accursed and hideous, those adjectives show the strength of the monster's anger and rage. But more than that, we also learn that the use of direct address is very powerful in amplifying the monster's accusations and frustration in his rejection from both the creator, Victor Frankenstein, and the world. The fact that we draw reference to Victor as the creator, that noun creates a comparison of Frankenstein once more to God, and I think Shelley's intentionally choosing to present the monster as alarmed by how much of a god Victor must have seen himself to create a human force. But why does Shelley present it like this? By having the monster call Frankenstein his creator, Shelley is surely asking us as readers, does God create people as evil? In addition, she's forcing the reader to question who is to blame for the monster's character. Is it really nature, or is it truly nurture? My companion must be the same species and have the same defects. This being you must create. Answer the questions and hit pause if you need thinking time. So, this is the monster. It's also in chapter 16. The tone of this comment is aggressive. We can understand from the modality of must, there's no room for manoeuvre here. It's repeated. It's imperative. And these particular imperative verbs of my companion must be of the same species and have the same defects, it highlights the monster's desperation to have a companion. Equally, the repetition of same symbolises the isolation and belief that our monster believes he's on his own without a companion. It's interesting that he doesn't seek for a companion who is perfect. He wants the same species that have the same defects. It's almost as if the imperfect elements of this companion are as powerful for this rejected member of society. He seeks someone who can also be imperfect, so he can feel more aligned with them. So why does Shelley show us this? Perhaps she is attempting to present a more compassionate side to the monster. We can't help but feel for his pain in this moment. His desperation for a companion emphasises that he's more than a killer of William. This suggests that he has compassionate feelings and wants that instinctively need to be met and cannot be without a companion. From that moment, I declared everlasting war against the species. Hit pause and answer the 4 questions if you need thinking time. So, this is clearly the monster. It's also from chapter 16. The power of referring to the human race through the noun species is pushing forward this belief on us as readers that to the monster, every single human is now his enemy. And in a way, we're seen as animals. We're reduced down to that base level because of the treatment he's experienced at the hands of humanity. It's aggressive too. We've got some intense imagery of everlasting war. I declared everlasting war at that. This proclamation shows the monster wants his war on every single human, but also will not take away his wrath and anger. We have to question why Shelley presents the monster as so ruthless and fearful and fraught with rage at this particular moment. It's like any rational reason is gone from his mind and all that he's learnt is now unlearnt. Perhaps it's because we need to see these strong emotions from the monster to understand that he's been driven to his limits. And this seems like an extreme declaration. It's also pushing us as readers to question if the monster is pushing this too far by declaring war on the whole of humanity and all species within the human race. Or has he been treated so badly, without exception, that this is actually his only option? He feels totally justified because this full-scale rejection has done nothing to help him feel at ease with himself. We have to question also if this statement is more about self-belief when he's been pushed away from society. To what extent is he just shielding himself from a world that hates him for nothing that he has done? My heart was fashioned to be susceptible to love and sympathy. Hit pause if you need thinking time to decide the answers to these 4 questions. So this is the monster in chapter 24. And it's important that we engage with the senses here, the reference to my heart and the fact that it's susceptible. The monster is being vulnerable here and sharing and laying bare his feelings. The verb fashioned is a nice way of signalling how he's inclined towards love and sympathy. And these key abstract nouns of love and sympathy show us as readers that in the monster's mind, he was never created as evil. If anything, we can't help but feel more sympathy for his desire and yearnings here. This is a big revelation towards the end of the novel. It's signalling once more to us how much of a desperate loser at life the monster has become, having been rejected so many times. So it seems as if Shelley wants to raise the important question of this novel. Is man born evil, or are we turned evil? By presenting the monster's point of view, Shelley is implying that it is societal responsibility that creates the problems that turn individuals into evil beings. It's never as simple as man being born evil. You hate me, but your abhorrence cannot equal that with which I regard myself. Hit pause if you need thinking time. So this quote is coming from the monster, also from chapter 24. The use of such aggressive language, be that hate and abhorrence, capture the resentment the monster has for themselves, but also for Victor. It can also elicit the sympathy that we need as readers. But let's just compare it. You hate me, but your abhorrence cannot equal that with which I regard myself. It's the most self-deprecating, harsh way you could put yourself down against your enemy. It's as if his whole armour is gone. So why does Shelley introduce us to this idea so late in the novel that the monster hates himself so deeply? Well, it's something that's mirrored earlier in the novel, that he loathes himself the more he spends time with society. But Shelley is surely creating a picture of a monster who needs sympathy. And by showing the hatred directed towards themselves, it is so universal that now the monster hates himself so richly. The hatred that is experienced to him fills him with so much pain and suffering. So much so that the real tragedy is the monster doesn't have any hope in life. The great symbolic representation that is the monster is its power to ask some pivotal questions of humanity, about whether we're born good or evil, about whether this character represents a protagonist or an antagonist, or to what extent the monster is really at the hands of his creator, and whether that creator is responsible for every act of bad judgment or poor choice that the monster commits. Regardless, the monster is the key to this novel, and without him, we are as lost as ever at sea as Walton. Why not subscribe to Miss Hannah Loves Grammar for all things English, literary and grammatical?